It's very nice to be with you today. Some of the things you're reading about in Los Angeles, thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped, and a lot of problems they were having out there. They were afraid to do anything, and we sent out the troops, and they've done a fantastic job. So I want to thank them very much.
Mr. President, in 2020, when you were talking about unrest in American cities, you said, quote, "We have to go by the laws. We can't call in the National Guard unless we're requested by a governor." What changed now? Why is this situation different to not consult with Governor Newsom about this?
Well, the biggest change from that statement is we have an incompetent governor. So I talked about governors, but I didn't talk about he's an incompetent governor. Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening. And they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday, who's a good man, by the way, and he said, "Well, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed." But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much. Yeah, please.
Have you gotten?
What crime has Governor Newsom committed?
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's a wrong philosophy.
Right around the time that we were walking in here, the governor and the state attorney general said that they're going to sue you for sending the National Guard in. They're saying there's no invasion, there's no rebellion. The president is trying to manufacture chaos and crisis on the ground for his own political ends. Federalizing the California National Guard is an abuse of the president's authority under law.
Well, you know, it's interesting. You watched the same clips as I did. Cars burning all over the place, people rioting. And by the way, we stopped it. We were able to make it much better, but it still looked pretty bad. And in watching clips last night, people were saying this is really a big problem. And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down just like the houses burned down. They were in big trouble last night, Peter. You know it. And the night before, and the night before that.
What do you make of the fact that he says, you want a civil war on the streets of America?
No, it's just the opposite. I don't want a civil war. A civil war would happen if you left it to people like him. And I liked him. You know, I always got along with him. Never had a problem with him. But he's grossly incompetent. Okay.
Are you going to deploy Marines in California?
We'll see what happens. I mean, I think we have it very well under control. I think it would have been a very bad situation. It was heading in the wrong direction. It's now heading in the right direction. And we hope to have the support of Gavin, because Gavin's the big beneficiary as we straighten out his problems. I mean, his state is a mess. I mean, it's not even conceivable that somebody would do the kind of things that he did.
And it makes me feel like our city is actually a test case for what happens when the federal government moves in and takes the authority away from the state or away from local government. I don't think that our city should be used for an experiment to see what happens in the nation's second largest city. Well, maybe we can do this to other cities. My conversations with the administration was before the deployment of the National Guard. I was trying to make the case that the National Guard was not needed here. I was trying to make the case that if the National Guard came here, it would be a provocative move, and it would be like a deliberate attempt to create disorder and chaos in our city. It was very predictable what was going to happen here, and it was completely unnecessary.
Have you been in contact with President Trump or anyone from the administration? And if you could speak to him, what would you say right now?
I would say stop the raids. Stop the raids, period. I would say give the power back to our governor, and if we need the National Guard, we can do it in the normal circumstances, which is the request is made local and the governor decides or not to grant that to our city. dial back time to Thursday. None of this needed to happen. Why did we need to have raids here? It was very clear that if raids happened here, that the community was going to respond in a very negative way. I tried to make that case. Unfortunately, I didn't succeed. I was very hopeful that we would not have, that the federal government would not have deployed the National Guard. But anyway, I think it's important, period, that peaceful protest is a part of our American tradition. When it results to violence, it will be addressed as though it is violence. People will be arrested and they will be held accountable.
You said Thursday. Did you mean Friday?
No, I meant Thursday, meaning before the raid. The raid happened on Friday. Everything was fine in this city. Just think about that. We weren't having problems with protests. There were no problems with violence. The raids happened on Friday, and in response to especially the arrest of David Huerta, one of the most respected labor leaders that we have in the city, him being injured, going to a hospital. But all of that creates fear and tension in our city. And you know, we have to think about the families on Friday. 3 different workplaces where raids took place. Many of those family members have not been in contact with their relatives. They don't know where their relatives are still here. Are they in Southern California? Have they been shipped to a country that maybe they don't even know? And so the instability that that creates, and we went through this before in the last administration, the last Trump administration. I blame the people that were creating the violence. What happened last night was absolutely unacceptable, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you support the rights of immigrants to reside here lawfully, then you don't go around vandalizing the city. And so to me, if that's really what you believe in, you would not be out doing what took place last night. Well, the Marines are stationed nearby, and so we already have the military in our midst. But I really think we need to go back and look at norms and look at what policies and laws actually are, because I think the thing that is challenging in this administration is that you don't know where the line is. So if you're going to say that this is exactly why we need the National Guard, again, I'm going to go back to Thursday. Nothing was happening in this city.
As of this afternoon, the Los Angeles Police Department is on tactical alert and in a state of partial mobilization. These designations are critical tools that allow us to expand our operational capacity to safeguard our communities and respond effectively to any unrest or unlawful activity.